am so happy to be with you today as you celebrate this momentous anniversary of the church. I realize how much God has used this church for 100 and something years, and I know how much you blessed my life because you gave me a place where I could learn to be a pastor. Even though I've been in the ministry about 20 years when I came to you guys, I really hadn't learned to be a pastor. What I learned was it wasn't to be a great preacher, it wasn't to be a great teacher, it wasn't to be a great youth leader or whatever. It was to be with you. Through triumphs, tragedies, all kinds of things, pain, we were together. I learned something called the ministry of presence with you. They stood by the beds of so many of my dear friends, because after you've been in the church a while, when you have deaths in the church, you're not burying just parishioners, you're burying friends. And I remember standing there with so many people, Kurt Severson, Maydeen, others that I had ministered to and become friends with. So I was there with their last moments of life. I had no words because I was losing a friend. You were losing family members. I was losing friends. And I didn't like it. I still don't like it when it happens. And yet, I had no words. And I know that sounds funny coming from me because I always have words. But what I found out though is when I had no words, God had words. And you had patience. And you listened to God's word. And you found peace and comfort through that. That's called the ministry of presence. I'm so glad that you allowed me to learn the ministry of presence. I've been in the ministry now about 45 years. And God has been good to me in that time. It's had ups and downs. Probably the biggest up was Grace Lutheran Church in Bruce, South Dakota. I said when I became a Lutheran to Pastor Brostrom, I said, one thing I don't want to be is in a cornfield in Iowa. Well, God heard my prayer and he gave me a cornfield in South Dakota. I'm kind of a city boy. I'm sure you noticed that. But God gave me peace and growth at Grace. I thank God every day for the blessings you've been in my life. I think of Olaf Skovlund and all the stories I have about Olaf. He gave me a lot of storytelling material over the years. Stories of Olaf, there's so many of them. One time I was visiting him in intensive care. And he's a funny guy. I know his family knows that, and most of you know that. But he would do things that I don't even know if he knew he was being funny. But I asked him, I had gone into the ICU in Brookings, and they said, don't get him excited. I said, I won't. I'll be very soft and quiet. And he said to me one time, I said, Olaf, what's going on? He said, they think I had a stroke. They did a brain scan on me. They didn't find nothing at all. I don't know if he meant that to be funny, but later on in that visit, he did something that was kind of cute. He said, Pastor, would you do one thing before you leave? Would you tell the nurse to come in here? I said, yes, I'll ask. And he said, which one? She said, anyone, as long as she's pretty. I need a sponge bath. I loved Olaf. He was great. I have so many great stories about Bruce. Some are funny. Some are difficult for me times to tell because they involved things that were hard. They were problems that we overcame. But you allowed me to grow and to learn to overcome problems. So I thought, not that they weren't there, but that you allowed me to be a part of your life, and as you became part of my life, you become a permanent part of my wonderful memories of being your pastor. I remember one story I want to close with. When I was teaching confirmation, you always knew that was a challenge for me. By the time I was 40 years old, and my kids were grown, and at least Brian was away in college, and Jose was still there. But I had younger teenagers I never worked really well with. I remember one day, one of the girls, and I'll tell you who she was. It was Annie Domer. She said to me, Pastor, why do you always wear black? I said, because I think it makes me look slimmer. She says, it's not working. And it wasn't. Now I wear black black pinstripe because I think it makes me look fat. I realize I'm kind of skinny now, but it's still not working. I have learned that being there with you through triumphs, through tragedies, through difficulties, through victories, through defeats, that it was a blessing that I was able to be with you. I thank you very much for inviting me to be here. I want to tell you one quick story as I leave this tape. I was the day I left was the day of Wilbert Amy's funeral. The day I left the church. the church from Oklahoma that had called me as pastor. Come up, they were loading my truck as we had the service. And Ann Thompson was very upset about me leaving. She went out the truck and she said, "You take his stuff off that truck. You're not taking our pastor. You leave him here." Well, I knew I was loved there. And that's one thing I got too. I wasn't a hireling. I was somebody who was part of you. And I was valued. My ministry was valued. Most of all, Christ was glorified. Not through me, not through you, but because we allowed him to shine. I thank you very much for allowing me to be part of this celebration. God bless you. And I look forward to seeing you at some point in the future. Thank you.